Welcome to the Backpacking Blisters podcast. We are tips and tales with a sense of humor. With me today is the owner of Green Belly Foods, the host of the Green Belly YouTube channel, Chris Cage. How's it going today, my friend?
What's up, Carl? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, hey, it's a pleasure and honor. I really like what you're doing on your YouTube, and I've had the Green Belly meals, man. They're no cook, high calorie meals that taste like truly really good. Your YouTube channel, from my perspective, has kind of become the voice of backpacking news, trends, and general information. Would you agree with that?
That sounds like a very flattering acknowledgement, first of all. So I don't know if I can, from my humble side, if I can agree with that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think like a big pillar of what the channel has been, and for the record, it's like very evolving as we speak. There's so much that's changing. There's some new stuff that I'm going to be working on this year, but as it stands, particularly over the past 12 months, a lot of that, a big pillar of the content that we've been putting out has been a lot of those through-hiker interviews, right? So I think that those are just kind of inherently news, kind of, they're on the cutting edge of, I think, a lot of what's going on in hiking, right? They're kind of the spearhead of what are the gear items being accepted and being tested and sort of that kind of thing. So, you know, by filming those kind of videos, we're just kind of there with it all, you know?
Yeah, and I appreciate your humility, but look, like you straight up gave a State of the Union address on backpacking recently where you're wearing a tie. You're wearing a tie like in the YouTube thumbnail. Here's how backpacking's going. There's more attacks. There's this happening. I feel like if anybody's the voice, like, I mean, whether you want to accept it or not, like, you got to be the voice.
All right. I'll take. How about maybe if we can combine the humility with what you're saying? I'll say that's trying to at least be some of that. How about that?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like you have to be the voice. I think it's just by default because a lot of the other backpacking YouTubers out there, I mean, they're focused on like, you know, gear reviews or trip videos or things like that. Some of them are hitting like skills and different things. Like, you know, obviously like we hit quite a few different things, but we're not always giving like up to date. Like yours is like up to date news, trends, information. I don't know of any other channel that's doing that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I would love to be so entrenched in some of that stuff that it does come across like that.
Yeah. Okay. We're right on. All right. So we're focusing on one of your videos, which is like gear trends that are disrupting the backpacking world. And so before we get into that, what's something that you'd like to see become a trend in the backpacking world this year? One that's not on your list already, maybe just like a change that you hope happens, whether it's gear, social, otherwise.
I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit because I am building off of some of the trends that I did talk about, but I think like my big theme for trends that I want to see more in backpacking and outdoors is, I think, an extension of what already is happening a lot of times in our daily lives. And I think a big trend is not the right word, a big shift, I would say, that I think a lot of us are seeing in our daily lives is health. Two things specifically come to mind when it comes to health extending into the backcountry and things that I would want to see more of. And that's going to be diet and sleep. Like, I think about that is just such a huge shift that we're happening all the time right now. And I think I've been incorporating more and more every day. And when it comes to like being outside and being in the backcountry, I still struggle with seeing, especially through hikers, they go for a 6 month hike and they eat complete junk food throughout the whole thing. Like,
right.
if you're going for 2 to 3 days, like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, go ahead, have your fun, like, enjoy your desserts. But if you're going for that long of a hike, I think that can like potentially be pretty harmful, right?
Yeah.
And I think then the other pillar of that would be sleep. And I talked a little bit about in that video about ZenBibi, right? ZenBibi is really, I think, pioneering that new way of sleeping outside, which is that sleep system.
Right.
And they're also piggybacking off of the quilts, right? And the quilt trend that's almost, you know, supplanted sleeping bags, right? Entirely is the quilts. So I think it would be interesting, and a trend I would like to see more of is a further emphasis on sleeping in the backcountry. That would probably be my biggest one. And that's a personal bias, Carl. It's like, I don't sleep that well in the backcountry, so I would love to have, like, I don't know what that would necessarily be, though. I don't know if I would be really interested if a lot of these sleeping bag companies started pivoting and building off of that sleep system thing that ZenBibi's doing. If I were a sleeping bag company, that's what I'd want to be doing.
Right.
I'd also be like, what are the other comforts that you can be adding in there? I don't know if that's like a fleece lined around the interior, maybe at least around the collar. I also think there's something to be done with backpacking pillows. Like, I don't exactly know what that is, but I feel like when I sleep outside, you don't want to be in the mummy bag. You feel like it's a coffin. I don't like the textures around me, a lot of that, like that synthetic stuff.
Right.
And I also don't like the pillow. It's always like some inflatable thing. And but you also then you have to do the trade-off of carrying a huge pillow outside. So I think there's just a lot of little fine-tuning in the sleep world that I would like to see continue.
It's tough because whatever your mattress is at home, I mean, even I know it's not going to feel the same, but whatever firmness it is, if you're trying to like replicate that and you're trying to replicate your pillow at the same time in the backcountry, like it's just not going to happen. So if you're trying to get it close, I mean, it's getting better, but it's not the same. And so you have to kind of just reshift how you sleep. And then the older you are, like the more nights you have on a regular bed versus in the backcountry, it's just harder to change.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Yeah, that's a good focus. Okay, you mentioned the food thing too. So you mentioned junk food. Now, on recent episodes, I've been putting out, there's like different levels of health food, and there's like junk food, but then there's like trash food. What's like the worst? What's the worst thing that you think people eat when they're backpacking? The worst food for you?
Just for the record, I'm not a huge hater, because if you eat these things, I think in small doses, I say go for it. And for the way, I do as well. But I think when it comes to, I remember when I was through hiking, I used to eat these too. It was like these pepperoni sticks.
Okay.
Dude, that to me sounds so disgusting now. I think just the idea of like processed meat thrown in from like a variety of body parts and animals, thrown in a blender and filled with all sorts of who knows what to make sure it's shelf stable. Like, that to me is, I mean, I might have to think about that one, but that to me comes to mind as like a pretty horrific thing to eat on for an extended period of time.
For sure. I had two that I consider trash food, and that you hit one of them.
Oh, wait. So one of yours was like processed meats or pepperoni?
Yeah, spam. I said spam.
So yeah.
Right, because I see people eating that. And the other one, I think this is the worst one, because I don't know if there's any real food in it, is Pop-Tarts. That was the other one.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. It's like that enriched bleached flour or something.
Yeah. I'm sure it's got some real food. I'm just being sarcastic, but yeah. All right, so okay, my trend that and you can speak to this if you experienced it or not. My trend that I'd like to see change or disrupt the backpacking world out there, or the hiking world, the trail world, is I want to see people, when I say hi to them or when others say hi to them, they actually will say hi back. And if I get out of their way on the trail, I want them to like say thank you. I'm at like a 30 to 40% rate where I'm like, dude, I got out of your way. Like, why can't you say thank you?
Carl, I would argue, again, that's something I think we want to see more in our daily lives as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I'm like, we're at the grocery store, I just want to say hi to somebody and have them say hi back. But no, I agree with that. I think some decency on the backcountry trails would be good. Also, Carl, I didn't know if we could be talking about stuff outside of gear. I don't know if you want to be specifically in gear.
No, whatever you got, whatever.
If we're going to talk about other stuff, I think I'm wanting to work on a public lands video, and I just don't know enough, frankly, about the complexities around public lands right now to really speak confidently about it. But my surface level take on what's happening with public lands is it's very serious right now. And so I think if we're talking about something for a trend or something that I wish like we could have as like public service announcement, if you will, for all of us in the backpacking outdoor world, it'd be like, let's open our eyes a little bit this year.
Yeah, I mean, I could be the voice for that. Like we had the most recent national parks director on. I know he's only doing national parks. He's not doing all public lands, but there's no current national parks director. And I'm trying to throw my name in the hat. I don't have any like political affiliations or whatsoever. I've been trying to get a congressman or a senator on the show. I've come close a couple times. I'm just gonna throw my name in the hat and then away we go. But that's just for national parks. That's not for everything. So.
All right, I'll tell me where to sign. I'm there.
I know. I wish it was like a voting thing. I could just try to get votes, but all right. I'm with you on that one for sure. Okay, so let's get to the heart of the episode though. So this episode is brought to you by the game-changing gear company that can really lighten your load, Enlighten Equipment. Check them out at enlightenequipment.com. Combined, we've got six gear disruptions that may change the way that you go backpacking that are happening from last year into this year, blurring the lines a little bit. So I know that you're going to be coming at this more from like a through hiking perspective, and I'm focusing more on backpacking, but I'm going to come up with 3-ish, and then I'll have you come up with whatever 3 you want to share, 3 or 4 from the video that you released, and we'll see where we land. One different thing is when you're putting your videos out, like you're putting the information out and people are responding in comments. So this is the time where you can put that same information out, and then you can have somebody say like, Nuh-uh, that's wrong.
It was such a dumb idea, Chris and Carl.
You're
Yeah.
gonna get feedback directly. I'm not shy about that. So if you disagree with mine, don't be shy. So all right, what you got? Number one, what do you want to talk about? Gear disruption.
I'm allowed to build off of the list, yeah?
Yeah.
And this is one I kind of like this the sleep and the food one that I highly welcome is more durable footwear. I think I don't really know how to crack this one. Frankly, I'm guessing it would be some more durable tread. I don't know if that's a Vibram sole or something more durable material, but I just get the sense like if we're going through 6 pairs of shoes on a through hike, that just seems like pretty insane to me. I also know again in my everyday life, like a lot of the shoes I wear specifically, I don't want to mention some names, but there's one that comes to mind that I wear and it just gets torn up. So I want some more durable footwear.
You don't want to mention names because you're nervous about like throwing a company under the bus, or
Well, I think maybe a little bit shooting from the hip. It's Ultra specifically. Is like I think I
yeah,
can speak positively about Ultra. I wear them. I like Ultra. I mentioned them in the
right.
video. But I think the fact that many pairs of Ultras are needed to get through a through hike, it feels like there's a lot of room for improvement there.
And I like they call it Vibram because like that's one of the companies that has a name or like a brand that nobody pronounces correctly. And I've called it Vibram for like, I don't know, 30 years. And then I met somebody who worked for them. They're like, it's actually Vibram. And I was like, that doesn't even sound as good. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a weird thing. But they did tell me that they've come out, I think it was in the last year, they've come out with an outer sole that is basically just like half the weight of what they've been putting out, because the outer sole that they have, and granted, like a lot of the trail shoes don't use them, like Ultras don't use them, but those things will last like well past the rest of the shoe. Those things last forever. But they add weight to the shoe, which is the issue. And so the shoes that we want that are lighter weight, whether it's like the Hokas, the Ultras, the Topos, like those are going to make it easier for us to go faster and farther on the trail. But yeah, you're right. They just like get destroyed, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there's got to be an opportunity there for a better material that doesn't compromise too much on weight.
Right. I don't know. I'm not a designer, but I'm with you. From your video, though, you said that you saw a shift of people moving more towards Topo and away from Ultra.
100%. I think that to me is, well, I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things that I really noticed by being around that many through hikers. But the first one was, I think I felt that Ultras still were pretty dominant, and they really didn't seem to be as dominant. I think that they were really, really market share was being eaten away from them by Topo, I think, a lot.
Okay. I saw, I didn't focus as much on the shoes this year when I was out on the trail, but I'm trying to think if I even saw any Topos out there. I was out on the Colorado Trail last July.
What trails do you go? Where are you located, Carl?
I'm in Colorado.
I'd be curious also if there are like different cultures and pockets of the U.S. that have different,
Maybe.
brands.
I mean, the people that I was with, like, not a lot of them weren't from Colorado. They were just, coming in for the Colorado Trail. Yeah, I'll have to pay more attention this year. Okay, so that was your number one. My number one is a gear disruption that I'm seeing I don't think it started right now, but it's like, I would say it's spiking up, I call it the rise of the doodads. So I see so many little, like, small tchotchke items. Okay, I see. So pad pumps have been around now for a little bit, so those are already out. But in addition to that, we've added spoon sleeves. We've added tent stake pushers. We've added mini lanterns, like Black Diamond came out with one called the Moji. We've had cork balls have been around for a while, but now they're increasing the use of bidets. And then I was on Garage Grown Gear and I found that this one company came out with like a personal urination device. This is I think it's meant for men who typically go to the bathroom sitting down, like when they're at home, and this helps them go to the bathroom standing up, which I didn't know was a problem, but there's just like a million of these doodads. I call them, like, I don't know, backpack crumbs, gear clutter, just a lot of the stuff that kind of goes in the backpack, or the option to have those. What do you think about that one?
I think that's a great one. I wish I would have added that in the video.
Well, do you see that?
100%. I think,
Okay.
as soon as you said that, one of the things that came to my mind was, and I saw several of these. I don't remember who makes it, but there was cap holder for your like smart water bottle that would like hold on to caps and things, it didn't hold on to the cap. It was a cap, but it would like attach to the smart water bottle. You know what I'm talking about? So that way you don't have to have it, like you won't lose the cap to your smart water bottle.
Like a leash.
Yeah, but it was like a very compact, ultralight leash, right?
Right.
Anyway, and I think the Garage Grown Gear has been really pivotal into that like doodad thing, right? They're like the home of the doodads, right?
They sell other things too. They sell like food and bigger items, of course, but I just feel like if you want a doodad, or if you want to make a doodad, you want to like manufacture one, like that's where you're gonna go sell it.
Yeah, and I think that they've given a home to like all of those sort of long tail, small volume products that don't really have a home on their own, e-commerce site, right? That you can go and discover a lot of that stuff on Garage Grump Gear. Also, I
Right.
mean, like Lloyd has said before, is their top selling ones are their top selling by volume stuff was that keychain thermometer
The Thermodrop, yeah.
doodad.
Yeah. I've already spent a lot of time making fun of that, so I'm not gonna harp on that. And I know you can individually put these things in whatever like kits you have, so it's not like you've got junk everywhere. I just think that if you somebody like that loves the doodads and you were to pull everything out and just lay it out like garage sale fashion, I think people would be like, what do you need all this stuff for? There's a lot of small trinkets. Anyway, I'm against the rise of doodads, but I think that I'm in the minority. I think that most people are loving these things.
I think I'm kind of mixed. I think part of me is like you. I roll my eyes at them and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, are we just like hyper optimizing for the nth degree of comfort in these like weird situations?
Right.
And that feels a little excessive. But
Right.
on the flip side, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe the keychain thermometer is just nice to have, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if you have like these little comfort things that are just nice to have and you have a few of them, that's fine. I just feel like when it starts adding up, and that's where the issue is. But yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm noticing. All right. That's my number one. What's your number two?
I'd probably say clothing. Clothing, I feel like, continues to be an area that is getting more cottage. I kind of welcome it. I think it's cool. I think there's so many different brands popping up that are really bright and colorful. I mentioned in the video, Sam Bob and Jolly Gear are probably the most prominent, but even being at Trail Days, there were a lot. I don't even remember the names of all those brands, but there were a lot of those brands coming out with the alpha fleeces, and Farpoint was one, but
Magnet Designs, yeah, they're another cottage.
Yeah, I think those are really cool, actually. And yeah, when I think about traditional like apparel for this kind of stuff, it's dominated by really big players, and or like just things that you might have in your closet, right? That aren't really a name brand at all. And I think that a lot of these brands are filling kind of a cool void and really specializing a lot of their products for hiking, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and a lot of them are, they might even be, made by thru hikers and people that know what they're doing as well, versus just like, this is how shorts are made, and some people want liners and some people don't, things like that. I will say, yeah, you mentioned, I think it was a Jolly Gear. I think it's Jolly Gear, that's the brand. And I'm noticing it too, where it's like, we have this button down style where it's like, you have this like semi-formal backpacking hiking wear out on the trail. And I know some of it's like got these like loud creative designs, which is cool. I actually prefer more like the sun hoodie style. I think that's like more functional and makes sense versus like button down on the trail where you're just, I don't know, like I don't want to add more tasks to my day, buttoning, unbuttoning shirts and things like that. What do you think about that?
I guess my mom and there are two things there, right? One is like is the bright colors, and the other one is like how many bells and whistles are on it, right?
Okay.
I think a lot of those don't have a ton of bells and whistles though. Some of them are kind of more minimal. But you're right about the colors. They're definitely like brighter and pop and all that.
All right, that's your number two. Let's see here.
Yes.
My number three is like, I think we're continuing to see a spike upward in the rise of the sleeping pad bed mattresses. Like, I'm talking about like the extra thick. And I don't think this is for thru hikers. I think this is more for backpackers. But so they had the the Neoloft from last year, the Xped Mega Mat, and now we got the Nemo Eclipse. So now we have like 3 companies in on these like 4-inch plus backpacking. Like, they're just like, they look like bed mattresses. Like, if you have them fully inflated and you're carrying them, it looks like you gotta have like a buddy carry it into your tent because it looks like it's that big. And it's just meant to be like extreme comfort because of what you were saying before. People just really want good sleep out there. That's what I'm seeing.
I haven't slept on one of those really thick ones. Have you?
I have, yeah. I have only the Neoloft one, yeah.
What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's super comfy. Feels like a bed. Like, that's what it feels like to me. Some people like the Xped better, just like, I don't know, it's kind of personal preference. But the Neoloft for me, I don't know. Some people describe it as kind of feeling like you're sleeping in like an air bubble, but for me it feels good. But you're spending 2+ pounds of your weight on that, so it's a lot.
Yeah, now I'm intrigued. Now I feel like
I got you
I
thinking.
can't comment on that. I haven't slept on one, but now I'm intrigued. I want to.
Yeah, and the new Nemo Eclipse just came out, and people are buying that, and I'm curious how that's going to measure up with everything. I don't know, but one of the things is like anytime you see a company who's like, well, it's the weight of this or it's about the size of this, I think they sell it as like if you roll it up, it's like the size of your Nalgene bottle, which at this point is pretty big for a sleeping pad, but I still think it's bulkier than that. I think you're spending some not only some weight but also some bulk in your pack, depending upon which size pack you bring.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, if it helps you sleep better,
That's right. All right, that's my number two. What's your number three?
I think it's my build off of the sleeping thing in general. But I just don't think I saw that many like ultralight kind of nerds this year. I don't like, and I feel like that's almost becoming a little bit more of a, I don't want to say generational, but it does feel like it's slowed. I feel like when I was really getting into gear and hiking was before my 2013 through hike. So I started getting into gear 2011 ish, maybe. And I think just like a general observation. Well, I mean, I was also a Boy
Okay,
Scout when I was a kid. And I mean, I wasn't like a total gear nerd back then, but I was doing backpacking. I knew the gear back then. And it seems like ultralight peaked with that guy on in a spreadsheet I feel like I don't know 2015ish, maybe 2018, maybe even up to 2020, but it feels like it feels to me like I
interesting.
just don't quite see that as much. I don't know how to quantify that though. It's really just kind of an observational
Mm,
thing that of course there are people out there still going into the ultralight world, but I don't feel like I think about that kind of the spreadsheet guy quite as much as I feel like I did in the past. Like just again, anecdotally, I feel like what I've seen, I think also that builds off of the general backpacking gear is just gotten like the default backpacking gear. But back then, and like if I'm going to say the 2015, let's just say, or 2010, the margin between like average backpacking gear and ultralight gear was pretty big. And I feel like it's just kind of gotten like this. So like the everyday person is just kind of buying better and lighter gear. So I almost feel like that, like the kind of like the gram counter is getting a little pushed out.
yeah, and I was wondering about that too because I mean, again, you're saying you're just like, this is observation, and I'm the same way. I'm a lot observation based, and I'm theory based because I see a lot of the ultralighters will be commenting on things, and they do. I think they do still have the spreadsheets. I just don't know if those are the same people that are actually going like through hiking and backpacking. I think a lot of those folks like they build out their gear, and
Right.
for them, the fun is to build out their gear. It's not the actual adventure, and so they might go on like a 3-day trip and make it a day or two and call it good. And they're like, oh, this gear works. And so for them, it's just the fun of like having the gear out there. So I've seen that. And then I've also seen, I mean, on the through hikes, you're getting people that are like, the young people and the old people. And the young people can't always afford the best ultralight gear because a lot of it's really expensive now. And so I see them with like hand me down gear and whatever they can grab. And the older people, they might have some ultralight gear, but their whole pack setup may not be ultralight because they got to bring extra stuff for their own like needs. Like I don't know, I'm getting to learn, so I had to bring like BioFreeze on my hike, which is like a super thick tube. They don't make an ultralight version of it, and so I just imagine as I get older, I'm gonna need more of these like extra little comfort things to make my way through a hike. So that's my theory. I don't have any evidence, just other than observation.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, it does feel very observational, but yeah, I could see that.
Well, all right, my last one I got is this. This is my thought process on this, but you also mentioned this in your video, which is like Durston domination. So I had a question I was going to ask you about him, but he's come on our show a couple times. I really like him. I'll probably invite him back here in the next few months. He's just a good dude, and his goal is to design gear that is just functional and good for the ultralight community. But people I think have kind of like joined his clan, and they view him as this like, I don't know, just like the flag bearer of the cottage brand. But as I've talked to more and more people who kind of had the inside scoop on what he's doing, I'm wondering, is he really a cottage brand anymore? Like he's not like this up and comer. I think he sells so much gear. I think he sells similar to some of the big names in the backpacking world. From what I gather, this is all, I guess, sort of hearsay, but is that what you're seeing?
And again, this is very speculative, right? But I don't know numbers, but he certainly has to be on par with like the Gossamers and the Hypolite Mountain Gears, if not bigger. I would think, right?
Yeah, I thought he was on the pars of like the Ospreys and the Big Agneses and things like that. Like, what did you see more? Have you seen more Osprey and Bay Agnes or Durston when you were interviewing folks at the Trail Days?
Absolutely, Durson. But I also feel like that market is
Yeah,
a more fringe market than like Osprey. Osprey touches on like travel bags, right? I mean, I think that they're $100 million+ business, I think.
that's true.
So I'd be hard pressed to think that Durston is pushing 100 mil.
No, yeah, you're right.
But I would think that I don't know, but I would think bigger than the High Plate and Gossamer Gear, maybe somewhere in that middle ground. But
Okay,
yeah, it's interesting. I think there's also, when I think of Durston, what to me stands out for the cult around Dan is, well, just start off with the obvious one is I think that they are making great gear. Simple as that. That's like the big pillar. But the second part of that is
right.
he's a founder-led brand, which there are no other ones in the space in my mind that I could think of that are making backpacks, tents. Like, who else is doing that? And I think that to me is a really interesting X factor for Dan is people are rallying behind Dan, not a brand.
Right.
And that's a very different thing. Like, it taps into a different psychological persona, I think, for people that are getting into, like, they want to support Dan, not this ambiguous company.
Okay.
So I think it's interesting that he's done that and kind of built this, persona and personality and individual around a brand,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And he'll like go into Reddit and comment on things, and like that really like is such a different type of experience with a brand, having the founder be going in and commenting on Reddit and YouTube as opposed to a more traditional name with a logo, right?
Do you do that? Like, I mean, you're in the same sort of position. Like, if somebody's commenting good or bad on something that you put out there, do you even know?
That's a good question, and honestly, I've thought about how to do that, how to deal with that. And historically, I have been pretty hands off, to be honest. And I think the more that I've
Okay.
been doing YouTube, I'm just frankly that barrier between where I am behind whatever my laptop, if you will, and where the customer is disintegrating because I'm engaging with them
Right.
so much more and in a great way. I think that's been a really big benefit of doing YouTube. But I think to my point is I'm wanting to be more like Dan, frankly, for a lot of those reasons. Is I'm kind of being forced to
Yeah.
partly, I'm just so much more in the weeds and hearing from people more being on YouTube. But I think it's just a great thing to do, like for a lot of reasons. It feels like
Yeah.
you're connected with your customers. I feel like I'm learning a lot more, or I would be learning a lot more by doing that. So I'm kind of in the middle, I feel like.
I feel like I could text you about some Durston stuff, and he might respond somehow, like hack into that thing because he's got something where he knows, and I know that it's some sort of program out there because I was talking to the people from
Oh, like alerts.
Yeah, like I was talking to Cascade Designs. They had sent me some stuff a few years back, and I ended up reviewing it on the show. And then I let them know. I was like, hey, just so you know, like we talked about such and such a gear on the show, and I gave them a timestamp. And they're like, oh, we know. We appreciate you sending it to me or to us, but we know when our brand is mentioned everywhere. And I was like, oh.
I think Google Alerts allows you to do that. I don't know how many platforms they monitor, if it's just Google or not, but I know that there are some tools you can use that can send you alerts.
Right. It's just crazy to show up on, Reddit or like in the context of a YouTube video, in the context of a podcast, that they can pull that data out. I think it's pretty crazy. So, but he definitely, he definitely wants to engage as much as possible, which you're right, is very cool. All right. Those are my three. Do you have any more or are you good?
No, I think those are the ones I had written down.
Okay. So there you go. So agree, disagree, please let us know. Those are 6 gear trends that are disrupting the market this year. I'm going to put Chris through the lightning round coming up right after this. Okay, this lightning round is brought to you by Magnet Designs, the American-made brand that is built and tested by a legit thru hiker. If it's durable enough for thru hikes, it's tough enough for your backpacking trip. Check out the Monarch Sun Hoodie with interior thumb holes and a better hood that all comes with UPF 50 protection by Googling Magnet Designs. All right, Chris, you got 1 minute to answer as many questions as you can. Timer starts after I ask the first question. Here we go. What is one quick fact we need to know about electrolytes?
You need to, if you're sweating a lot, you should be consuming more salt than you probably think you thought you needed.
What is the best trail longer than 200 miles?
Damn. I'm gonna go Pacific Coast Trail. I know it's cliche.
What brand of backpack do you have?
I have like 9. The most common one I go with is Gossamer Gear, though.
Favorite person you met any of the trail days?
I love Lloyd from Garage Grown Gear. I also liked the Jolly Gear guy. I also like Travis from Sawyer. A lot of good folks, though.
A comedy movie you like?
Man, these are tough. I'm gonna go Happy Gilmore.
A green belly flavor you rejected, like not available.
Oh, I know we have rejected one. Maybe we haven't. Something's gonna come to me after this. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Time is up, but if you can think of it, go for it. All right, that's probably a good sign. If there's not like one that comes out like mustard tuna fish, so you're like, yeah, we didn't want to do that one.
No, I think we've evolved all of our flavors to small or large degrees, but I don't think we've just like flat out cut one.
Okay.
Oh wait, excuse me. We cut Mud Meal. Mud Meal was a powdered beverage, and we cut that one. We might bring it back, but honestly, the first iteration of it was really rough because we put it in this bag. We put a powdered beverage in a bag. That was the biggest product fail.
Okay.
If that's another way to think about the question, it was a bagged Mud Meal, and we cut that pretty quickly. And you just couldn't mix it. In the soft walls.
Oh.
So then people were like, all right, well now I have to like pour it into this other drink to like shake it up better. But then what's the whole point of having this bag form function? And
so was it kind of like a liquid meal then?
Yeah, it was like a powdered meal that you would add water to, but
Okay.
it came in a plastic bag that you could mix it into, but it just didn't work well.
Gotcha. Yeah, we had one of our guys brought just liquid meals for like a 4-day backpacking trip. No solid food. And by day 3, he was it day 3? It might have been like late day 2. He was like begging for food off of us. He tried it though.
I don't know how people's stomach would handle that.
All right. I'm trying to look at, okay, so looking at your answers here. What did you say for your current backpack again?
I've got Gossamer Gear. That's probably the most common one I wear.
Gossamer Gear. That's right. Yeah, they're continuing to innovate with their backpacks. And then favorite person you met? I don't think I've met any of those guys in person yet, but yeah, I'm hoping to. Maybe I got to show up to one of these trail days things. Solid answers. Yeah, I think you hit right around the average, so well done. All right, Chris, so tell us, what do we need to know? What's going on with Green Belly Meals and anything you got coming on YouTube you don't mind sharing with us here?
For sure, man. Yeah, open book. I think a big thing, I'm going to be updating some product I'm updating product right now. I'm going to be making some higher protein stuff. I'm going to actually be doing a rebrand. I don't know if anybody even cares about that, but we're 10 years old. We got to give her some more makeup, make her look a little fresher. So rebrand.
Like rebrand like your logo and things like that?
Thinking about doing a full logo. Maybe not like unrecognizable, but something, just something a little fresher. Just wanting a little bit of a facelift on it. So it just feels like it's time. So those
Gotcha.
are 2 things. And if you're talking about videos, touched on the public lands thing. I'm surface level into that, like I said. So I don't know how much will frankly come of that. I love the idea of doing a public lands one. I actually just filmed today a new video on the international trails around the globe. We interviewed a lot of thru hikers and got some insights on international long trails. What's the Appalachian Trail of the rest of the world kind of thing. I'm also thinking about doing some longer form interviews this year and not so much diced and engaging and that kind of thing. But
it's like a podcast then, right?
I guess so.
Okay.
I haven't quite put rails around on it yet. I've been marinating about doing it. I think it would be fun. Even right now, I just enjoy this. This is fun to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I enjoy the scripting of videos, but it's also a ton of work to make sure that something's being, even like the electrolytes video, that video just took a lot of, I want to make sure it's right? And that takes a lot of time. So I like the idea, frankly, just from a lazy perspective, that I can go and do a long form interview, not have to do a bunch of research and scripting, all that kind of stuff. But I also like it from a fun point of view. It just sounds cool talking with different people. So, but anyway, again, I haven't even lined up any guests at this point. That's something I'll be tinkering with.
Right. Well, it sounds like that might be a good avenue to go down because you got a lot of good connections in the thru hiking and backpacking world. So that sounds like something to look forward to for sure.
Right. But I think that's the main stuff I got coming up this year.
Well, man, I appreciate all the content you put out. I watch it. I enjoy it. I have a really good time with it. And a lot of it's really inspirational for me as far as just, what I look at and even kind of some of the things we talk about on our podcast. So really appreciate everything you put out. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Carl, been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, so that's a wrap. And remember, if you're shopping for a sleeping pad and you think it's too expensive, it's probably due to inflation. Have a good week and God bless.
Yo, B&B, it's Rock, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I'm a little bit behind on my B&B listening. I just listened to the January 26th episode of Carl and Derek interviewing over 100,000 ultralighters on how to aggressively save weight when going ultralight. At the beginning of that episode, Derek talks about how he owns a bowling ball, and Carl is surprised. Well, I got to say, I'm not surprised that Derek owns a bowling ball. I don't think he owned one back when we were roommates. That's right. Derek and I were roommates. And in fact, Carl and I were roommates even before Derek and I were roommates. And Derek actually, when he moved in, took over Carl's, old room. So one of the things that started to happen, and this ended up happening about 2 or 3 weeks, every 2 or 3 weeks, that was Derek and I would quote one line from the Batman movie, the 2005 Batman movie, Batman Begins. And we'd quote one line to each other. And that line that we would quote to each other was, fear, fear, fear. And the idea was, you're afraid to bowl against me on Friday night at the end of the work week. So as soon as that quote started going around, going back and forth, and we're talking, we probably both said it to each other between Monday and Friday at least 400 times. That meant Friday night bowling was on. And Friday night bowling was awesome. We would always go to a pizza place first, California Pizza Kitchen, and then go right across the street to the bowling alley, Saddleback Lanes, and bowl and bowl and bowl. Not only that, but we all had nicknames when we bowled. I mean, this was a big deal, right? 400 quotes of fear to each other. Eating pizza as a tradition beforehand, right? And then heading over to the bowling alley and giving each other nicknames. Well, Derek's, bowling nickname was McTavish. He's had a bunch of other nicknames too, a whole host of them, in fact, probably more nicknames than even Apollo Creed had. But McTavish was the one that seemed to stick for Derek Bowling. So I got to say this, when you have a bowling nickname, it's not surprising to me at all that you own a bowling ball. Folks, Derek the Bowler